What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Plan. It's NFL Week 7. I got John Statsational Alesia here from the Sharp app. We're going to break down all the plays. We're going to take a look at best bets for these games. We're going to go against spread money line, all that good stuff. And we're going to roll in a little bit of DFS talk as well. John, of course, is the lead analyst over at the Sharp app. So we're expecting good things. John, you avoided some landmines last week. You're an underdog bettor, and we didn't have the show. You were out there dodging hurricanes. And
I know.
Yes.
We missed it last week. Luckily, all back to the home office after having to swim around the neighborhood there for a few days. But yeah, all's good. We're back to some normalcy and maybe some abnormalcy as we got what you have up on screen there, a little different than what maybe everyone's been used to seeing.
That's right. So the big announcement coming up. But first, I just wanted to rip on the fact that all the favorites covered last week.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
It was the biggest loss the sports books have taken. I think the New Jersey books or whatever it was, I remember seeing it basically was record losses for the sports books across the board. That's going to happen whenever the favorites hit. The public tend to bet favorites. They bet money lines. So I'm sure there was a bunch of big parlays that came in because you'll get 5-6 team just straight money lines. You look at Circa, the survivor pool, 216 people are left. They lost 5 people last week. We started with 14,200 people. When you consider each and every week, just about the biggest favorite has lost. That trend has changed. So, or at least that changed last week for the first time. Almost though with Philly almost blew that game against Clinton. They were the biggest favorite on the board last week. So, a little bit of a little bit chalky last week, or quite a bit chalky. We'll see if that trend continues. But man, the first 5 weeks of the season were just ridiculous with these underdogs. So maybe we're getting a little regression.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Circa's down to 250, and after 6 weeks is in itself an indictment of favorites have been losing or not covering. And again, it was a big flip last week. Everybody won. So take it with variance. It's a grain of salt, right? It's just variance. Kind of stuff gets crazy, but probably for the best, John. You're an underdog bettor, so you tend to like those dogs. So last week would have been a rough one. I'm almost glad we didn't do the show.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have. I mean, I only had 4 bets, actual games that I liked. Unfortunately, they did go 1-3. We got just a bad beat on that Tennessee game last week against the Colts. They should have covered that game, should have won that game, but so it should have been a split. Yeah, I mean, look, worse things could happen, but the props went nuts. The props are where it's at. The props are, the props are a very illiquid market, so you can find some much better value in the prop market. It's very difficult in the NFL to really find a ton of value, especially as the week goes on. But with tools like this, you can find differences in markets. Just looking at these odds aggregators and just being able to pick the sports book where that's giving you the best odds. Just that alone is going to increase your EV. So, starting to utilize the tools here that we have is going to increase your profitability for sure.
Well, let me tell everybody what they're looking at on screen. So the big announcement is Sharp app is the beta that has been promised is finally going live today. And you're seeing it on screen here. This is the Sharp app real-time odds screen. Over 60 sports books available. Real-time odds changing by the second up on screen. So these are adjusting on screen by the second. Effectively, professional tool for a professional sports bettor. We got a lot coming in addition to it. So we're going into beta mode. So those of you guys who subscribe to Sharp app already, you'll be seeing this on Friday afternoon. The ability to go on beta mode and get these screens. I'll show you a little bit what we have going on here. But, the sports books here, you can take a look at the list. It is extensive, real time, up to the second odd screener. Of course, on the top props tool now, for the Proptimizer tool, we now have not just prize picks and sleeper, but we've added underdog, DraftKings pick 6, Fliff, hot streak, parlay play, and no vig. No vig and Fliff are really interesting sweepstakes sites where you can really do full betting anywhere you are in the US. I could get into that more. And then, of course, a lot of the pick'em games like Pick 6 and Prize Picks. So, I mean, you can take a look at this and all these options. Pop one up here on screen, but each one of them are being compared in a top-down market-based approach against, as many as 60 other sports books. And then, of course, one of the things that we do different at the Sharp app, of course, is we also include bottom-up approaches with our projections, the Sharp app projection for all of these markets. So really elite tools. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to go live, but also to talk about what's coming in the coming weeks. This is just the beginning. We've been needing to get this baseline out here. We have a technology that no other site has on the Sharp app, does not exist elsewhere, that we're able to deliver real-time odds through a standard web browser rather than having to upload a specific application onto your computer. I'm going to show you a comparable package here. This company called Don Best. For the same package of odds, they're charging $499 a month. And a lot of that is because they don't, the technology that they're using is more cumbersome and more kind of expensive to set up. What we are doing is a little bit different. So currently, as the promotion to lock into Sharp App Pro Plus, you're going to, of course, have this. The Value Finder tool is coming down the road, which will give you alerts, line movement, steam, just amazing suite of tools that are designed for professional sports bettors. All of that's coming down the road. Of course, the parlay tool as well, where we're going to be checking parlays against various books. All of those coming within the next 4 to 6 weeks. So while we're in beta, people can get in on this still for $99 a month. And actually, we have our DFS Army YouTube watcher promo code DFSA25. We'll actually knock 25% off of that. So lock into a real-time odds screener, a value finding tool, the prop finder tool, the alerts and all that stuff. At this moment, 25% off. It's going to cost you $75 a month, or, go to the competition, $500 a month if you want. And hey, that's available too. All the other sites are in this range. I don't want to talk too much about the names, but like Spank Odds, also about $500 a month. And some of the other ones that there aren't very many sites that can deliver real-time odds the way that we are. So I just want to recommend checking this out. Sharp.app, promo code DFSA25. You can get the real-time odds screener with over 60 sports books, tools galore coming. This is the beta. So this is just, we're in testing mode. That's why we're charging a reduced price for the people who get it now. And we do not raise prices ever. So if you're locked in here, when this goes to $150 at the end of November, or $199 maybe by January, as more features are added, you will still be locked in at $75 a month. This is what you should be doing right now. I'm strongly recommending getting on there and getting these tools. So with that being said, John, let's jump right into the NFL. Let's get a point spread here, but let's the NFL Week 7 breakdown. And let's get started here with the Seahawks at the Falcons. We're going to go NFL main slate. Actually, want to do a little, we'll do the early game as well. The Patriots at the Jaguars. Jaguars 6-point favorites. Who the hell are they to be favored? But the Jaguars are 6-point favorites. The total here is 42 points.
Yeah, I mean, 6 points, and well, it depends on the book. I mean, some books are, it's kind of ranges from 5.5 to 6, and you're seeing.
I'm even seeing a 4.5.
Well, okay, so let's actually talk about that while we have it up. So you're going to see some sports books where that they're giving us as their main line an alternative line. So you see that 4.5 is juiced heavily to the -125. That's ESPN, I believe it looks like there.
Yeah.
So you might be able to get 5.5 or 6, or you most definitely can get those lines. They're just going to be different juice on those lines. And when I mean juice, that's that's sort of that money line that's attached, the VIG that's attached to that spread. So, yeah, they've got 4.5, but you got to lay -125 if they have it. If you go to their site and then you want the line at, let's say, 6, you'll get it at less juice. So you're seeing what the sports books are sending us as far as the main line. So the main line may be off necessarily from where the rest of the market is, but that juice is going to be taken into account.
How do I know which one's the best one? I mean, I've got FanDuel here -4.5, Fanatics -5.5. The FanDuel's -130 for a point on Fanatics. You get it's -115, and then I can go all the way to Hard Rock or DraftKings, get -6 for -110.
Yeah, we're going to actually have a tool that's going to tell you which is the better. It's not on here yet. It's going to give you where you're getting the best value. So if 4.5, you've got, let's say 4.5 -125, or laying a point and a half more. They call that selling half a point or selling a point. So if you, let's say you take the DraftKings line there, which is next to it, at minus 110, which one of those is better? I'd have to look at my numbers if it's 15 cents, but that's probably about right. They're probably close to even from moving to 4.5 to 6. But what we're going to have on there, we're going to have a calculator at some point where you could actually put that in, like which is the better line for each sport. We'll have that. So NBA numbers are going to be a little bit different. Moving from 6 to 4.5 in the NBA is going to be different than moving from 6 to 4.5 in the NFL because of key numbers and things of that sort. So we'll have that information on there. We're going to have best odds as well. So you'll see if the 4.5 minus 125 is just better than minus 6 minus 110. We'll have that as far as the best odds. Of course, when you have the app itself, the best odds are calculated in the app. So like we're showing right now, plus 6.5 minus 110 are the best odds that we could find on New England. And minus 5.5, minus 115 is actually the best line at FanDuel. So you see, FanDuel here is giving us minus 4.5, minus 130, but you can get it at minus 5.5, minus 115. So if you kind of use this in conjunction with the app, and whoever I can't see on your screen, but there's a minus 5.5, minus 115 right next to that. Who is that?
Yeah, that's Fanatics. So
that's Fanatics, right? So they've got that line. So that's actually the best line that you could get when you factor in the juice and whatnot. Is the minus 5.5, minus 115 is the one that we like the most as far as the main lines. But we'll have tools in here where you're going to be able to say, I want to take this at 3.5. What's the, should I take this at 3.5, minus 3.5? And whatever that juice is, it might be minus 135 at minus 3.5, something like that. Or should I take it at the minus 6, minus 110? We'll have all those answers for you in the app.
Yeah, a couple things coming to this main screen are going to be a best odds column, and of course a hold percentage column. So we have additional tools even coming to this screen to show the best odds and all of that. That's why it's beta. But like I said, we're excited, and we're excited to have our current subscribers and anybody new coming in and helping along the way as we continue to design these tools and build out additional features and functionality for it. So
it helps. It helps me. I mean, we keep building tools that I really have to just go to one place. Like, so it's helping the professional sports handicapper, as well as just the person who's doing this casually. So the more tools we build, what we're trying to do is just build as many tools as we possibly can put in so that you only need to go to one spot. Like, I'm a part of the Sharp app. I would prefer to just have to go to the Sharp app and find everything I need and be able to design some of these tools that maybe others aren't thinking about, because it's what I look at when I'm sports betting. So that's really what we're trying to do, is just bring a lot of these tools to sports, where some of them, some stuff that you may not necessarily use and some other things that you will. So, and then in the hopes is that in our Discord, people talk about just kind of how they're using the tools and what they're finding success. Because if we all have access to these tools and there's different ways to utilize them, I see it now in our Discord where people use they're using the Sharp report, and they're using that along with our AI stuff inside of the app, and they're looking for signals on both. And when this occurs and and that occurs, then that becomes a trigger on a game. So that's what we really want, is that you build that community and everyone starts to give their input as far as what they're building on their own little model. I think a lot of people look at it, they're like, oh, you have a model. Well, a model doesn't necessarily have to be 4,000 pages of code. A model could be, when I see, you talk about top down. A lot of people don't know what top down is, but top down is really looking at the sharper sports books, seeing where when their line moves, kind of jumping to maybe some of the squarer books like the US sports books, and seeing if there's a discrepancy there, and then picking off maybe a line where if a game moves from -3 to -3.5 at a sharp book, maybe you want to go grab that 3 over at this other book. So incorporating that's a model in and of itself, right? And then if you incorporate that with the Sharp report and all our other tools, that's what people are doing in our Discord, which is kind of cool. And when you have more and more people in that community, the better everyone's ideas are. The better ideas are going to flourish. Those are the ones that are going to rise up to the top, and we're all going to kind of help each other out. So, I know a lot about sports betting, obviously don't know everything. And there's always going to be someone's going to pop in our Discord, and they're going to school me on some things as well. So that's kind of the fun of doing this and building the tools and having that community.
I love it. I don't want to get too deep into this, but of course, top down, you mentioned it. I'll just give a simple man's answer for it. Top down is basically, we want to look at the sharpest, what's known as the sharpest sports books. And when there are significant variances between the line on those super sharp books and other books, we want to attack the value of that variance. So if a line says a player should be, or a game should be -3, and some other book is still at -2, and we've checked it against the sharpest books, and quite honestly, we are coming up with our group of sharp books, and we're going to include that here on a sharp odds column for comparison purposes. But we're also setting this up so that the user can pick from the 70 books that we currently have, whatever you think is the sharp books for whatever market you're looking at. So you don't have to go with what we've determined is the sharp book. And then if something's at 2 and the sharp has moved to 3, the expectation is that line will eventually move to 3 as well. And it's a beat the closing line type approach to sports betting. Again, it's not the same fun as watching a game and saying, hey, I like the Jets. They got Devontae Adams this week. It's a different style of betting, but it's extremely profitable for people who are willing to stick with it and hang in there. I'd call it, again, it's a top-down approach. There's
a couple of keys to that. One, you need really fast data, which is what we have now, right? Because 2-minute stale data is not going to help you. A lot of people who do this has been going on for years, by the way, way before all these legal sports books. There's been guys out in Vegas who just monitor the lines. The lines used to be a lot staler because everything wasn't online, and you'd be able to run from sportsbook to sportsbook live and do this in Vegas. But so you need that quick data that we have now. It's going to be some of the fastest updating of these lines in the entire market. Plus having all the sports books, like you said, you're going to be able to just go ahead and pick the book. So it's going to be, it's going to suit whatever you think the sharp books are. So if you like Circa, you like Pinnacle, whatever books you like, and then not everyone has the time to sit in front of their computer. This is basically like trading. It becomes like a day trading type of thing.
The outline here of what we've built is based on I don't want to say like Fidelity Trader Pro, but basically like that pro trading screens that give you
the key is
streaming data on screen so that you can be faster than the next person.
Right. And the key is we'll have notifications, which are going to, that kind of goes hand in hand, because I'm not going to sit here for now. The betting markets are 24 hours a day, right? So you're going to want to be notified when you're eating dinner, when you're having a couple of cocktails, whatever it is, like, hey, there's edge here, there's an EV play, and you'll be able to do it right. You'll see it on your phone, it'll pop up, you'll see the EV. And in some instances, we even have it on the app now where you can open up the sports book directly, and you'll be able to put that bet in within like 15 seconds before they're able to move the line on you.
The wives are going to love that. And bing. But that is one of the advantages of Sharp app, is that because we built an app first before the website, and that's really what's happening here. The website is catching up and actually surpassing the app functionality, just software and how it's built. But because we have an app first, we can use push notifications to ping your phone if you want. So you could set up, and that's not going to be live right now. That's a couple of weeks away. All of those features are coming. And you can understand, John, that that type of functionality, ping your phone, alerts in real time, these are the type of tools, like I said, that people spend $500, $600, $700 a month to acquire to beat everybody else. And I would not doubt if our pricing will go in that direction. So like I said, I just want to emphasize now, because I know people are going to ask later, you need to sign up now, lock in at $75 using code DFSA 25 if you want to bet at all. And if you're in a state that doesn't necessarily allow sports betting, again, that's no excuse. FLIF, Novig, these are both legal in almost every state. They're a sweepstake type company. Won't talk about what they are, but effectively they replicate what a sports book is outside. And one of the cool things again about the Proptimizer tool and this particular tool when it comes to these sites is, if I want to just bet this play, I can just hit bet now. It will load the site up, load the bet. I don't have to go look for it. It's super fast, and it's designed that way because, again, time is of the essence with a lot of the plays that we're doing here. So with time being of the essence, it takes you right there, right to the market. It's in your slip. You can bet it real quick and effectively employ a top-down or bottom-up strategy, depending on what you want to do. So with that being said, we made our pitch, John. This goes live Friday, today. Beta for all Sharp app subscribers. So make sure to check that out when you can. And Again, I highly recommend getting signed up. Sharp.app, promo code DFSA25, 25% off. All right. So, John, let's talk about the actual bet here. Now that we've gone through the pro, we had to do it, guys. We had to do it. We had to let you know what's going on. But let's talk about the actual play here. Are we to the point now where we're comfortable laying any kind of chalk with the Jaguars? I saw Drake May looking good last week.
Yeah, it's this one doesn't feel all that good. I mean, Jacksonville, listen, neither of the teams look great. I know Drake May, I think there's a lot of excitement there. There's always excitement when there's the new quarterback coming in.
I love me some Drake May. I love me some Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a bad roster with New England.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville, I think a lot of people are surprised by this line, but you got to remember now this game's in London. Jacksonville they played there last week, so they have that advantage of still being out there in the UK.
They're kind of the home team in London.
Well, I don't know how much of a home team. They weren't that big of a home team last week because they played what was it, Green Bay last week?
Yeah, they also stink. So I mean, it's hard if
Right.
you're in UK and they're the team that's always here. You're like, do I have to root for this turd? Let's root for a good team. Like it's fun. It's more fun to root for not.
Yeah, you've got a fan base out in the. You've got, first of all, people would like to make that trip. So people who and you're going to get plenty of people from the Boston area are going to make that trip out there and enjoy a game out in London. So you've got that aspect. Jacksonville would like that to be their home. I think I think Khan would like to move the team to London, which is why they get all the games out in the UK. They get a couple of games a year here. But yeah, this is going to be an unusual pick, but I do think Jacksonville wins and covers this game. I think this has been a team that has not looked good here the last couple of weeks. They're on a multiple game losing streak, as well as not only straight up, but against the spread. Typically, when a team has gotten blown out for 2 games in a row, as they have against the spread, this is a time that you want to jump on them. And when the line just looks as wacky as it does, Jacksonville, one of the worst teams in the league, and still laying this many points, it's almost like they're sucking you in here to bet on Jacksonville. I think the majority of the market
to bet on
will
the Patriots.
I'm sorry, to bet on the Patriots. Yeah, the majority of the market is probably most definitely going to be on the New England side. The one thing, and we have it inside the on the website now, is also the Sharp report. There is nothing on this game at all. I just wanted to double check that. I was curious because we probably would see. I was thinking maybe we would get the New England side as one of the square plays. It's not as of now, but yeah, I think Jacksonville. I think like I said, I think they're just kind of sucking you in here on the side of New England. Now, if New England's going to put up points, it's against this Jacksonville defense. This defense has been just atrocious. One of the worst defenses in the league. It's the team. Now, they're not on the main slate, but this is the best team to stack against right now is Jacksonville, because they'll move the ball, but they're giving up a ton in the air.
Hang on, check it. Well, it doesn't affect New England that much if you look at the power rankings.
They've been so bad, yeah.
Yeah, this is the power rankings tool, which is my favorite DFS tool that I use.
Well, if you just look at is that just that screen? Yeah, if you look at, there you go. Yeah.
You go to Jacksonville, they're at the very end, and yes, they're allowing 83 yards above expectation to opposing quarterbacks in terms of passing yards. So effectively, what this means is that when a team plays Jacksonville, they should throw for 83 more passing yards than they normally do, which is insane. That number is look at the next highest. John, the next highest is 30. I mean, that number is crazy. It looks like the Colts are the next worst at 30. Oh, there, Cincinnati. Oh, Cincinnati, noteworthy at 39. Is that New Orleans? Oh, no, New Orleans, that is, right? Yeah, that's New Orleans at 39. But, I mean, clearly, Jacksonville, the worst defense versus the pass in the entire National Football League. So, again, we're not talking too much DFS. That's a solo game. I like, in that game, I like DeMario Douglas. I like Patriots running back, whoever that is, and Drake May as potential captains to take that one down. We crushed the showdown last night, by the way, as crazy as it was. We did really well because I was like kickers, defense, Broncos, let's go. It was a pretty obvious Broncos defense smash game when you're going up against the rattlesnake. So
yeah, defense has been good.
All right, let's get back into this. So you like I'm going with the Patriots side of it. I like Drake May. I think the Patriots are on the upswing here. So I get it. It's maybe not the sharpest side, but I don't care. I like the Patriots in that game. I don't even mind just straight taking them +6. I could see the Patriots winning that game, and a potential even money line play. So that's the way I'm going with it. Let's take a look at the next game. And this one's a big one for DFS. This one's a big one for everything. You got the Seahawks at the Falcons. Falcons -3 at home. Seahawks maybe a little bit of fool's gold there. They got some wins, but against some pretty bad teams. Now they're out. Go see the Falcons. Game total on this one is 51. So just DFS angle here, John. Chalk, right? Geno Smith is lining up as one of the higher owned quarterbacks on the slate. I'm gonna share this with you. I know it could get me in trouble, but Geno chalk is bad chalk to me. Just general. If he's going to be 13, 14% owned, I'm not interested. Not to say he's not going to have a good game or can, and this total isn't great, but the Falcons do kind of play a style that keeps the ball in front of them. That is how they play. They play an outside shell with deep coverage. I don't think it's the best setup for DK Metcalf. It's a much better setup for like a Jackson Smith and Jigba type player, first of all. Or Seattle running game, which I like the Seattle running game and Walker and all of that. But I'm not sure. I think I'm leaning more towards playing Kenny Walker than I am towards jumping on the Geno chalk in this one. As far as the Falcon side goes, I'm also very, very skeptical of Bijan after last week's explosion where him and Tyler Algier had 50-50, shared the ball 50-50. And there was, once again, no real separation between the two of them to where you're paying. Basically, I'm now calling Bijan Jahmyr Gibbs 2.0. This is Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery all over again for me. And I don't think he's individually deserving of a workhorse running back price tag in DFS. So especially as chalk. So I'm going to be skeptical of that as well. Actually, I think one of my favorite spots is actually Darnell Mooney in this one. I like Mooney and I like Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I'm probably, because of the chalkiness, going to forego Geno Smith lineups or getting a lot of those outside of maybe I'll do some Geno +2s just to maybe get sort of an interesting, unique, maybe less common version of it. Geno +1 to me is going to be way too overowned. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, from the betting standpoint, I'm on the same side as the Sharps. The Sharps like Seattle. I like Seattle +3. They actually got this at 3.5. It's moved down to 3. I think if we scroll across, I don't think there's any 3.5s in the market anymore. So yeah, you can see it there. They got it at 3.5 on
3.5. Yeah,
whatever day the 14th was, which was Monday, I think. So yeah, I'm on the Seattle side as well. So this is another game that I do like and will be playing. I think these teams are fairly close, to be honest with you. And I think just getting the 3.5, the home point advantage, not nearly. It's not 3 points. I know a lot of people still think it is 3 points. It's not. I think the teams are even. I think we're getting about 1.5 worth of value, a point at a minimum. So I do like Seattle in this game.
I like it. Any thoughts on the total? 51 seems high.
That is high. Let me see like where I have it. I know I don't have anything per se on the total. And my numbers have it exactly at 51 as well. So yeah, I'm not it could go either way for me. For DFS purposes, certainly this is a game of interest.
Titans at the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are 9.5-point home favorites. The game total is a minuscule 41, and I actually really believe in this. Like, the Titans are expected to almost score nothing in this one, and I agree with it. This is a disaster for the Titans. Will Levis is the gift that keeps on giving to opposing defenses. I've never seen anything like it. His terribleness is up there. It's Zach Wilsonian, almost. It's Wilsonian. I just invented that, John.
Well, there's a lot of Wilson
ineptitude. It's just Wilsonian after Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it doesn't work though because you got too many Wilsons.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
it has to be like Milfsonian, so people understand it's Zach Wilson. You say Milfson, they know about the Milf. You know about Zach Wilson.
Listen, Zach. Yeah, I do. I mean, Zach Wilson. Who knows, man? Getting out of New York, maybe he'll land somewhere that he'll get a job in a few years and he'll become the next Sam Darnold.
No, he won't. Sam Darnold is the Sam Darnold. Zach Milfson is going to be banging. Is going to be basically breaking up marriages.
Yeah, God bless him.
Yeah, breaking up marriages. Your hot wife, do not send her anywhere near him. Dangerous.
Well, you heard the joke last night, the Trump Kamala joke, right? He did that speech. I guess it was some comedy thing because they had James, I forget his name, the comedian who was hosting it. Well, I won't.
Gaffigan hosted that.
Gaffigan. Yeah.
I like that guy. He's funny.
It was, but yes, basically, Trump had a good joke.
All right, I'll need to look it up.
You'll have to look it up, and we'll let everyone look it up. But
the Milfsonian nature of Kamala. Titans at the Bills, though. Bills 9.5-point favorite. Listen, this is not the best matchup for the Bills. The Bills newly acquired Amari Cooper. Great acquisition for them. Not the best game for him. He may see Ildarius Sneed, aka El Snizzles, in coverage, but John, Sneed has not practiced, so that is their best defensive player on the entire Titans defense. If Ildarius Sneed, aka El Snizzles, does not play, even Amari Cooper in his debut might actually help in this game. But overall, you've got the Bills. We saw the breakout of Ray Davis last week with Cook on the shelf. Cook is going to come back this week, and now it's a disgusting mix of those. I'm not touching that. Now the Bills are like, hey, this guy's good. We're not going to not play him anymore. So now look for about a 50-50, maybe a 55-45 type split between Cook and Davis. No bueno for DFS purposes. I'm out on all of that. I am fully out on anything to do with the Tennessee offense as long as Will Levis is their quarterback. He stinks. He's dead to me. So all that's really left here is, I don't know. I don't like anything DFS-wise. It's just like Bills minus 9.5, and that seems like a lot to cover.
Yeah, it's a big number. I mean, the Sharps on the Sharp Report took it at Buffalo minus 7.5, and I think you've just lost too much value here to take Buffalo. I prefer the Tennessee side. I hate giving up this many points. I think there's a chance this line gets to 10. And if it does, then I think you just kind of you have to take Tennessee. I mean, no one's going to bet Tennessee in the game. I think this winds up being a low-scoring, grinded out type of game. Hopefully, they're going to have to score a little bit. Tennessee. I mean, what was the total? 41, I believe.
They're not scoring shit, John. This is Bills defense.
Well, how much? They got to score 10.
They're not scoring shit.
Well, if they don't, obviously, then Buffalo's going to win this game and cover. Buffalo will put some points up on the board. No, the Tennessee offense has been atrocious. You talk about DFS, though, you got to be careful about taking Buffalo because the Tennessee, the way Tennessee has played, they've really just killed you. They have not been a good team to focus DFS against because teams just haven't done a whole lot throwing against them, and that's primarily because they're so bad.
The biggest red stain.
They're the biggest red team, yeah, because of the fact that you just can't. They've been really good against the pass because that's been the style that they're playing. A lot of times it's the offense that dictates what the defense does for a team, and Tennessee's one of those teams. So I do expect this game to be low scoring. I think if it's 10 points, I think it's just too many. I can't lay the 9.5. I think the Sharps got in, and I think at a pretty good price at the 7.5.
I'm going to tell you how to play it, John.
Go ahead.
It's very simple. 7-point teaser. We're moving the line down. Minus 2.5. Buffalo wins. Let me do my sleazy teasers, okay? That is leg one.
I'd rather tease it up.
Teaser. Nope. You tease it down.
I'm getting 2 touchdowns teased up. Give me the 2 touchdowns.
Will lose by 25 points in a game like this. They stink. They are terrible. Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback. I don't know what that guy is, but he's not proper. He's not a quarterback in the NFL. He's Zach Wilsonian.
Well, Buffalo can't stop the run either. So
that's how they get it done.
It's going to be a grinded out type of game, and I think they will at least run the ball on the Bills. You saw what Breece Hall was able to do against this team. They really just have not been able to stop the run. So I think that's what the Titans want to do anyway. The Titans are going to want to try to run the ball, try to keep it ball control. That's why the total's so low. And so I have a hard. I think I feel more comfortable if I was teasing this game to take it up.
Well, one other note, DFS purposes on this game is that Tajay Spears will not play. It's going to be all Tony Pollard.
All Pollard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an all Pollard affair. So if you believe that at all, if you like, if you think the Titans defense can get a turnover once in a while and they can complete a couple of passes, it is Tony Pollard who is the only person of note here on either team that is a DFS play. I still I think the Bills win regardless. That's why I like the tease down, because they're winning this game. They're winning this game. They're the Bills. They're not going to lose to a team like the Titans. All right. Next up, we got the Bengals at the Browns. And another gift that keeps on giving opposing defenses, Mr. Deshaun Watson, who cannot help being sacked 5 or 6 times every single week. He's not able to make decisions anymore. He's got the brain fog. He cannot make a fast decision. When is it going to click on for him? Probably never. I'm now of the mind that this was one of the worst moves in the history of the NFL in terms of a player acquisition and the cost of it. It is so ruinous that I feel sorry for Browns fans. It is a franchise ruiner. Browns franchise is going to have to suffer now probably 3 to 5 years before they can get out from under the stink of that disastrous decision.
While they watch Baker be one of the top 6-7 quarterbacks in the league.
Makes it so much worse. With that being said, it's a 41.5 point total. The Bengals are 5.5 point favorites here. The Bengals have been a big disappointment as favorites this season. This is a circa get you knocked out kind of a game. If you didn't already get knocked out week 1 on the Bengals, this is that one that's here to knock you out. I actually weirdly think there are some fantasy relevant plays in this one, much more on the, again, weirdly, outside of like Bengals running backs, I guess like a Chase Brown might have some interest, but the weird play is actually on the Brown side with Cooper gone. I just think even as terrible as Watson is, I don't see how Njoku doesn't get 7 to 10 targets.
He's been their best receiver anyway.
Yeah. I just think he's going to get 7 to 10 targets at 4,100. I like it. Jerry Jeudy, now he's going to be a focal point. I mean, he's not that good, but who else isn't that good? The other wide receivers. So it has to go to Jeudy. Like Elijah Moore is very not that good. And I don't even know the third guy. There's a third guy there. I can't remember his name.
Did you see Amari Cooper's drop percentage?
Yeah, because he was on the team and he's just over it. He was dropping passes, that is no doubt. But I think he needs he knows how to catch a ball.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around. This is not a new guy, so it's kind of like I think I don't know, concentration issues. I think we go to a new team that resolves itself. And I think I've been on the Browns. We stink. I'm sick of this crap. Maybe that's why he's dropping passes. But he has definitely dropped some catchable. But they haven't helped Deshaun all that much on that team. But 5.5, John, you laying it here? You laying the 5.5 on the Bengals? Bengals have been a burner of your money.
Yeah, they certainly have. But Cleveland hasn't done you any favors either. I don't have a strong opinion on the game. I would take Cincinnati. I would lay these points. But just because I think with Watson, I think that's a bigger mess. I mean, I don't know if it could possibly be a bigger mess than they're making it out to be, but it's what you said. I mean, Watson just does not have the ability right now. It's not that he can't think. It's the fact that I think he's got that. We talked about having sort of the yips at the quarterback position. I just don't think he has the confidence to believe in what he's seeing and just get rid of the ball. It's taking him a moment or two to think, and you just don't have a moment or two to think in the NFL. You've got to kind of see it and get rid of the ball quickly. He doesn't have that ability right now, and I just can't say, well, this is the week he's going to turn it on until he shows you that he can. I think they're a fade from this point out.
Yeah, it's tough to trust. By the way, just really cool note is if you're watching the screen, again, this is kind of new. This is a beta. We've been looking at this screen for a little bit, but it's pretty cool. It's literally changing in real time. Like this number has gone from, I think, -110 to -105 in real time here. I see it flashing on the screen, which is pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I don't trust the Browns in terms of even giving them 5.5 or whatever. So it's Bengals or bust. I feel confident again that the Bengals will win this game. So I actually think they could cover the 5.5 here. I think this is a spot to take them.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot. I think it's a spot where they.
Let me point out one other observation. I'll just from a DFS angle. I've observed that Joe Burrow is very much Lamar Jacksonian in the sense that his big games, and they do coincide obviously with the big games from not just Chase but also T Higgins. The big games from Burrow have been fairly obvious. It almost always takes the other team putting up resistance for Burrow to pop for his 28 plus type games. I don't really recall ever a time when it's happened where the other team didn't resist. Meaning, this does not set up with the Browns being big underdogs and whatever as the kind of game where Burrow normally goes off. Doesn't mean he won't, doesn't mean he can't. But it does not set up, it does not look like previous games where him and especially him to Chase has gone off. Jamar Chase, I mean. So it's just not a game that I'm heavily targeting for DFS for that reason. I don't see it as a Burrow gets 30 plus type of game. It could happen, but for that to happen, it almost always requires the opposing team to be producing. And when he did it this year, that's what happened. And I don't really see that out of the Browns. So it's probably a game where I'm going to mostly avoid this for DFS purposes. I don't think that's one that I want to get heavily involved in. All right, John, next up, the Packers at home. And I did see this one on the Sharp Report, so we'll pop that up in a second. But the Packers are at home, -3 favorites against Houston. Game total is 48, a little lower than I kind of thought it might be. Both defenses are a little bit better than you might think. Let's take a look at the Sharp Report. Not the Sharp Report, the power ranking sheet shows an expectation for the Packers. I don't know. Let me make this bigger too. It shows Green Bay set for 156 rushing yards, not many passing yards. So Houston defense better versus the pass and allowing runners to produce above average. And it does look for 270 passing yards for Houston and not a ton of rushing yards. So, of course, this was compiled mostly before Mixon came back. But what I'm seeing here is an expectation for a heavy passing day for CJ Stroud and company and a run-heavy game plan potentially from the Packers. At least that's kind of what the numbers point to. But how do you see this game going down? Packers at home, -3. Both teams really good, great young quarterbacks. These two teams remind me of one another.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that. They're two, it's exciting teams when you get the two young quarterbacks who made the playoffs. Both of these guys, Stroud obviously in his rookie season, which was impressive. I really was down on Houston coming into the year. I just didn't think they were going to take the step up as everyone kind of predicted. But so far, I have been wrong. Obviously, they played well. Between the two teams, I think Green Bay is the better team. You mentioned the Sharp Report. Sharp money did come in when this was at 1.5, and that's why we're up to the 3 on this game right now. I don't know if I would lay the 3. I don't like this one as a bet. But if I had to pick a side on this game, I would just lay the 3. I just don't think we've got enough value here once it got to the 3. But if I had to bet a side here, the -3, those -105s, you're getting +100 over at Circa, +102 at ESPN. I like those -3s more than necessarily I want to get the 3. I think Green Bay is the better team. I think they have the better defense in this matchup. So I think Green Bay does win this game. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch, and I do think we'll get some points on the board. There's going to be, you mentioned DFS. Look, Houston, you could talk about Mixon, whatever. Mixon was out, he's back. At the end of the day, this team wants to throw the ball, and they will try to throw the ball. That's their MO. They're going to use Mixon a bit, but this is all about throwing the ball with them. And now you have less options this week with no Nico Collins, so that just helps you with DFS.
Give me some Tank Dell, give me some Diggs, but Dell even more so at a discounted price. He seems to benefit the most from Nico Collins. Fuck, did I say the name right? Being out. So I don't know. I'm having a brain fart, but yeah, he's benefiting the most from the injury situation for the Texans. It's Tank Dell for me here. And again, the Sharp Report is really pointing to Josh Jacobs, although I have a hard time getting on board with that. That dude is not scoring touchdowns. The variance has to change. But at some point, Jacobs has 1 touchdown on the year. Like, what's going on? So I'm loath to trust him to score a touchdown. The other thing about the Packers offense is it's very difficult at this point to trust any individual wide receiver. Yeah, Jaden Reed is probably the best of them, but at the same time, he's not getting more than 7 or 8 targets in a game pretty much ever. And that's concerning for me, John. I need volume at 7K on DraftKings. The other guys, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, they're all possibilities. They could all get it done at a cheaper price. It's hard to pick which one it's going to be. I think it's a really tricky team to like. Jordan Love stacks are difficult because of that. They just spread the football around. Tucker Kraft comes in. So I don't know. It's not a game I really want to build around too much. I don't really want to build too much around the Packers and Jordan Love, not because I don't think he's going to score well, but he's priced up and it's really tricky outside of GPPs to feel confident in who to stack him with. I mean, last week you needed him with Romeo Doubs, and okay, fine, but you probably didn't have it. You probably had someone else. So it does become a little bit tricky. All right, next up, John. Colts at home taking on the Dolphins. Dolphins still rolling, probably with Snoop Huntley at quarterback. Colts are -3. It looks like Richardson is back for this game. The running back situation for the Colts is weirder. Kind of looking like, Jonathan Taylor's been ruled out. This kid Goodson might get the full start, or maybe Trey Sermon will come back. But I am going to be interested in Goodson if he is the solo running back for this team. Dolphins side with Snoop Huntley, I don't think you trust anything. They got 2 running backs. Achane seems to be coming back. Mostert will be out there. So, it's too big of a split. Even in one of the best running back matchups ever against the Colts, they're terrible. I mean, let me ask you then. Do you think this is a spot where we should go to those those running backs for the Dolphins just based on this matchup?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a pretty good matchup. This is not a team that handles the run all that well. So, yeah, I think we get some value there. And that's what Miami wants to do.
Oh, they're going to run the crap out of the ball. It's just a question of there's 2 of these guys. They're both priced up. You know what? I haven't looked at Mostert's salary, actually. I think it's $6K, though. Yeah, $6,100. It's just expensive. Mostert coming off of 21 touches last week, only 11.8 fantasy points. So, I don't know. I'm not super impressed. Achane will be back. It could pop. It could pop. But I tend to think the Snoop Huntley led, maybe off the bye, they also kind of get Huntley a little more up to speed. So maybe that game goes a little bit more efficiently for the Dolphins.
I mean, I like the Dolphins in the game plus the 3. I feel like Huntley's not that bad a quarterback here. And I agree. I think you get that one extra week with them. I've just been waiting for them to just get this offense rolling a little bit more or at all. I mean, it just has not been able to do much since Tua's drop. But I just think we're getting value on Miami. I think they still have some probably the better pieces offensively, I think, are on the Miami side. It's just a matter of getting Huntley in the swing here. I think we get an opportunity to maybe get the better team overall at plus points with Miami. So I do like the Miami side on this game. I didn't check the sharp report if we had anything on it, but I will be on Miami plus the 3.
I like it. All right. Let's move on. Lions at the Vikings. This is a big one. Vikings at home, -1.5. Monster team total here of 50 or game total here, 50.5 points on looks like BetMGM there. And back to it, just a couple of quick notes about this game, right? Lions lose their top defensive defensive lineman last week in Hutchinson. So the Lions defense, which has been spectacular, kind of takes a little bit of a bruising there. Flip side, the Vikings defense also spectacular. Both of these teams are really great defenses. Let me actually just pull up the sheet here to emphasize that, right? Both teams up top here. So you've got the Lions, who are allowing 40 yards below expectation to opposing running backs, effectively shutting down the run. You know who shuts down the run even better than the Lions, John? Take a guess. The Vikings.
The Vikings, yeah. Well, this is going to be a throw in the ball type of game for sure.
Yeah. Both teams stop the run fully. Now, again, Lions defense, we got to take a grain of salt. They lost their best player and their best pass rusher.
Part of it is, again, just the way you look at the weak teams. A lot of times are really good against the pass because teams don't have to pass against them. When you get the teams that score a lot, those teams do well against the rush because you can't really run the ball when you're trying to catch up and stay in the game. So that's really what's happened.
But both of these teams are actually good overall. Yeah, both of them are allowing a few more passing yards, again, for the reasons that you mentioned. They're both leading all the time, so teams are just throwing against them. But I do think that the Vikings defense is the better unit by far, actually. The Vikings defense is real world elite. Lions defense, I think, was covered up a little bit by how great their offense is. And also getting to play Dallas, who clearly stinks. Like, their offense is a disaster. So it helps to play them. But yeah, I mean, just noteworthy, both teams, we got to be looking at the pass game. One of the greatest things, so just a little, again, coming back to DFS angles on this one. The first thing I look for every time the Lions are playing another team is how good is the run defense. Why? Because the Lions have two elite running backs, and you cannot trust their passing game when they're able to run. The second they're able to run, they're going to do that. And so you can't trust the passing because, hey, Montgomery got 2 touchdowns and Jahmyr Gibbs got 1. And how many fucking touchdowns are they going to get? They just don't have enough of them. In this case, with both teams having elite run defenses, you can kind of count on both of these offenses to be throwing the football, which is why Samwise the Brave Darnold is one of my favorite plays of the entire slate. I think so many reasons. The Vikings will have a hard time running against the Lions, number one. Number two, I don't even think that Aaron Jones is like healthy. So it's going to, it's another reason why they're going to be doing more throwing. Number three, it's so easy to stack him. Addison and Justin Jefferson are like the only 2 games in town. They don't have a real dominant tight end right now. The WR3 is an afterthought. Now, you could play the WR3 and Jaron Naylor, but he's been a bit of an afterthought. I think it's Samwise to Jefferson and Addison, triple stack, as the way to attack this game. Very simple. And I don't mind, although don't like it as much, Goff stacks with any combination of Amon-Ra or Laporta. Laporta is actually my favorite of the pass catchers from the Lions in this one. I have my reasons. You want tight ends against good defenses. That's where you can beat the good defense. So give me Laporta here. First time all year that I probably, or in a while, that I'm excited to play him. But overall, it's the Viking side that excites me as far as that goes. And I will usurp your bet call to say I do like the Vikings -1.5 here.
Yeah, so I mean the Vikings minus the 1.5 got the sharp money on the sharp report as well, right? But we're not seeing the line move off of that. So that's always something I talk about, right? So if we see on the sharp report that sharp money came in on a side, yet that didn't move. Now we saw earlier, right? The Green Bay was right. They took Green Bay, the sharps, at -1.5, and that got the game up to 3, right? Yeah. Should have been a similar type of move here, and we're not seeing that move. So that kind of scares me on the Minnesota side of this game. I mean, this is a classic one where if you do want to tease it, this is where you tease the Lions up and you get that 7.5 points. That's, get them at plus over the touchdown. That's a nice spot. I think it's going to be a tight game. Should be a great game to watch. Should be fun, high scoring. But I think that's the play here. I think this is a good teaser on Detroit, teasing them 6 points up, getting them at the 7.5. I'm leery, like I said, of the fact that the sharps could not move this line.
Let me ask you just a numbers question here real quick. So the standard line is this BetMGM +1.5, -1.5, -110. If I go over to Fanatics, for example, well, first thing is just having the screen. A little bonus to realize that if you were going to take the plus, the Detroit side, go over to FanDuel, you can get it -106, and you're going to save 4 cents. Oh, big deal, 4 cents, but it is a big deal. But my actual question is, would I be better served going on to Fanatics and just laying -2 for and saving 5 cents, or even if I wanted the plus money, taking +2, so gaining an extra half a point for 5 cents cost? What's the better? Is it worth 5 cents to go half a point? Is what I'm asking.
That's about equal right there. You
So
know, it's
it,
going to be a
effectively,
preference.
that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that we do here, and eventually we'll have best lines where they're flashing on screen, would be just to quickly identify. You could scroll across it. Users, by the way, if you have this tool, you can enable, like if I just went to recommended, which are it's geolocated to my personal location, it'll just show the books in my area. I like to see them all, because we're demoing this awesome tool. But even in this demo, I mean, look at all these extra sports books that I didn't enable on the screen. There's so many more. We can have tons and tons of books here that users can pick from. So you can pick whichever ones you want. All right. Where was I? Texans, Packers. All right. Did we give a play here, John? Wait, no, Lions, Vikings. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah. So you like teasing up the Vikings. I like the teasing up the Lions. I like the Vikings straight up -1.5. And you take the Vikings at home. Their defense is really good. I think they might be able to slow down the Lions here. But my favorite DFS play, of course, like I said, Samwise, double stacks, and Laporta on the Lions. All right. Eagles at the Giants. Giants +3 at home. The Eagles are another team, John, that have been like burning you if you took them as a favorite. Like if you're laying chalk on the Eagles this year, you're losing money. The game total here is a surprisingly low 42.5. Again, so this is surprisingly low, and I actually want your take on that total.
Yeah, I mean, look, the total is low. I don't know if it's necessary. If I necessarily like this game to go over or under. I do like a side on this game. I don't love the total so much, but I do like the Giants. I think Philly has been a team. It's a team that I've wanted to fade a good chunk of the season. I think we're in a spot here. I think this Giant team is just better than we think. If you look at the Giants, just go look at their games. I think they're still getting a bad rap here, as far as the kind of the perception coming into the season as to what the Giants are. And I think conversely what Philly is, right? So Philly is a mid-level team, as they are. They're 15th ranked. That's what they're going to be. Like Philly will finish. That's about what they finished last year in the rankings. That's where they are now. They're a mid-level team. The Giants are getting this game is still priced as if the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league. You know, the Giants are, and I guess a lot of teams can say this, but terrible calls in the Dallas game where they probably should have won that game. They had no kicker against Washington, a game now where Washington now is suddenly the team that everyone thinks is the best team, in the NFC East. And, they have a kicker in that game. They win that game. No doubt about it. They win that game with the kicker. So, you win those two games. All of a sudden, the Giants are the talk of like what's going on here. Daniel Jones playing much better. I think we're catching a good dog. This is a home dog that I like at +3. I think they win this game against Philly. I think Philly is just I think Philly's been overrated since last year. They're still riding on the fact that they were from a record standpoint, the best team in the league early last year. I think the first maybe like 10, 11 weeks, whatever it was. And they have since that point basically played to the level that they are. And Philly fans just don't get it. Philly fans are, they want to get rid of the coach. They want to get rid of, they're just frustrated. They should have lost that game or could have easily lost that game to Cleveland last week. But that's the team that they are. I think people are overestimating the talent on this team. Give me the Giants +3.
Yeah, I like the call. I mean, you can get him 3.5 at -115, and that might be even better. That's probably how I would probably do it.
Yeah, if you could get for sure that 5 cents is worth it.
I want
or
that
10 cents in some spot. But yeah, that should be about 17, 18 cents. So if you're getting, if you're comparing BetMGM's -105 to -115, for sure you want that 3.5.
Absolutely. I like, DFS. I love the Giants here. I like Daniel Jones stacks. Malik Neighbors is back. That guy's a beast. The Eagles don't have an answer for Malik Neighbors in their secondary at all. I think this is a Daniel Jones to Malik Neighbors stack week. We got to put Slayton probably back on the shelf for the most part. He's priced not as his role anymore. He's priced as like Malik is out, so he's got to go on the shelf. I think Wan'Dale Robinson's got to go on the shelf for now. He is not priced correctly for Malik Neighbors, but he's not priced correctly anyway, because he gets volume, but he just doesn't do enough with it to justify like a 6K price tag. But I do like Daniel Jones to Malik Neighbors stack straight up in this one. Flip side of the game, if the Giants are going to score, more often than not, your Hurts will have a good game. But the prime play on the opposite side of this game is going to be Saquon Barkley in the revenge narrative. And I do think it's a real revenge narrative for him where he's going to want to come out there and do some damage to this Giants defense for letting him go. And just to let him remind them, hey, I'm a good player. So I like Barkley. On the Eagles side of it, if I'm playing Hurts, I'm playing with A.J. Brown, but I'm probably not going to do a ton of Hurts lineups. I'll have some. But I do like the Daniel Jones angles. He's super cheap. And Daniel Jones, I say it all the time. You guys rip on me whenever I take him and he doesn't have the big week. And I get it. But I've done enough back testing of DFS to know that Daniel Jones is going to win you $1 million every once in a while, like probably 3 or 4 times over the course of the season. He just pops for 30 plus, and it's usually when no one owns him. So I hope he's going to be super low owned this week, and we can get like one more week of playing under the radar Daniel Jones for cheap, where he's a guy that can pop for 30. Like, he does run the football. He's getting 30 to 50 yards most weeks. And we know that he could pop for a hundo if he's having one of his big boy put your pants on and put your big boy pants on games, which does happen with Daniel Jones on occasion. He is less terrible than people think he is.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. All right. I love it. And I like the Giants side of it. I agree with you. You cannot lay chalk on the Eagles almost against anyone. They almost lost to the Browns. You called it. You can't almost lose to the Browns and be a favorite ever. Raiders at the Rams. Rams 7-point home favorites. The return of Cooper Kupp. Kyron Williams smashed it. The Raiders side, they got nothing going on. Jacoby Myers, the law firm, probably not even going to play. Amari Cooper, gone. They only got one guy to throw to, Brock Bowers. It's a tough situation for them. Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers. I don't even know who the other wide receivers are. That's how bad they are. I don't even know their names. And I know every wide receiver's name in the NFL. That's how bad it is. Flip side, again, a Rams team getting Cooper Kupp back. Will he last the whole game? I wouldn't bet on it. John, can Cooper last one full game?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's tough to bet it.
Put a money line on that. Give me a money line on that.
Oh, God. I mean,
minus 150.
No, that's too low. Too low that minus 150 that he survives the game.
Yeah.
Nah, it's got to be at least minus 300-400.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where's the level where you're not hitting? You're not laying the chalk, like minus 300.
Yeah, it's got to be in that range.
Yeah. Poor Cooper Kupp, man. I like that dude. I hope I hope things work out. Are you laying the 7 here? Is that like half a point too much?
Nah, it's too many points. I think the side, it's basically you're taking the points here.
Can I tease it down to half a point?
You could do that, yeah. You could tease it down. Well,
just
you're
say
teasing it down. You're teasing it down to the 7.5. You're teasing down to that 1.5. Certainly could do that. Or if you're taking the 6.5, then I think if you've got the 6.5, depending on the juice, then maybe you could get, maybe I could get behind that. But I'm not really keen. I'm not looking for Ram numbers. I'm really looking for Raiders plus anything over 7 personally. So I'm not looking for Ram price here.
You're looking for more points for the Raiders. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to get 7.5 on it.
7.5 right now. Yeah, it doesn't. It's the best case you're paying 120. You're paying minus 125 for 7.5 right now.
Yeah. If I can get an unjuiced 7.5, I think that's the way to go on this game.
I don't have a lot of confidence in the Raiders in this game. I love Kyron Williams. I think Kyron Williams is the play. It's probably the best running back play on this entire slate, just from a upside perspective. So that's really if you look at the sheet here, Rams, it's weirdly not projecting a massive amount of rushing yards, but the reality is I think the Raiders stink. So I don't think it matters.
The Rams have not been, because the Rams have not produced from a running back standpoint, yardage wise.
Yeah, he's just scoring all the touchdowns. Let's just take a look at Raiders' actual defense here. And yeah, I mean, they're not as terrible as they're not allowing a ton of yards over expectation. I think it's because they're not scoring, but the numbers bear out that
If you look at Vegas from a what they've given up to the running back fantasy wise, it's been a ton of points.
Yes.
So
but it's not yardage, it's just points.
It's been points, and which leads me to believe that's more of touchdowns are being scored. And when you look at the Rams, you talk about Williams as far as how they've done. They've been pretty average at the running back spot. So I just think they're probably, if I look at it, they're probably just not getting in the end zone. So I think I don't mind the Kyrie Williams play at all. I like him. I told you I'm in that league where it's a one and done pick, and I took Williams this week as one of my picks. So I do think that this is a good spot. Heavy favorite game tends to favor the running backs in the situation against a team that really has given up a ton of points to the running back.
Yeah, it's Rams defense, plug in the running back. I think it's the first week of Cooper Kupp. I'm nervous I don't like playing guys off a long injury in their first game back. So I'll probably wait a week on Cooper Kupp, even though it's like great matchup.
Especially in a game that potentially they may not need him. Right?
Yeah.
So
I'd rather wait the week, but that's just kind of how I'm going to play it. Does not mean, listen, I wanted to wait the week on Mixon, and he went crazy on 13 carries last week. So the wait the week concept was correct. They didn't feed him volume, but he got it done on 13 carries. So it's like, hey, you're stupid. You didn't play him. Or I'm smart. I didn't play him. I thought he'd only get 13 touches, but didn't know that the 13 touches would lead to 30 fantasy points because he would just break away. That's just a variance play. So I don't really know what the right call is, but I do tend to think that playing guys off of a multi-week injury is not good. Now, wait, John, you ready for this? Because I get feedback when I do these videos. You just said to play Malik Neighbors, right? Here's the difference. Malik Neighbors coming off a concussion. There was no layoff. That doesn't count. I don't count that. When you're coming off a soft tissue injury, an ankle, that is totally different from coming off a concussion, because the minute the concussion is gone, you're 100% healthy. When you come back from an ankle, are you healthy? You see him pull up after the third play with the same ankle hurt, and you're like, oh, there it is again. Like, that's the kind of stuff that happens. So that's the difference. I don't like guys off a long layoff unless it was a concussion, because concussions don't really affect anything. All right, John, big game. Actually, this one's not a big game. Well, we'll save that one for last. But exciting game. Panthers at the Commanders. Commanders 9.5-point home favorites. 51.5-point total. I've got a lot to say here, but like from a DFS perspective, John, this game is chock full of goodness. You want to target Panthers defense across the board, but especially with opposing running backs. Brian Robinson Jr. coming back for this one. It's hard.
He's definitely back. Is he back?
Oh yeah, he's practicing in full. So we're getting B-Rob back for this game, practicing in full in the most plus matchup ever. Of course, they also have Austin Eckler there. Austin Eckler did not get a spike in touches last night. Everybody thought B-Rob out. Austin Eckler get a touch spike. He did not. He's just getting the same 8 to 10 touches he always gets, or 12. Like, he didn't get a massive touch spike last week. And it's clear that when Brian Robinson is out, they're just going to go to the next guy. They're not going to give those touches to Eckler. But this game sets up as like a Brian Robinson. This sets up well for him. Now, the flip side is, on the Panthers, I like the Panthers offense. Andy Dalton is good. And they're less inept. I'm going to say that my first thought is I think you will be on the Panthers here plus 9.5. What do you say?
Yeah, for sure. I just think the Washington defense is not good enough to really lay this kind of wood on this game. I agree with everything you said earlier. I was talking about that league I'm in. I basically have it penciled in. I had either Robinson or Eckler who's going to be in that spot because, yeah, it is a total smash spot for running backs in this game. And it goes kind of, it goes back to game script a lot of times with these teams.
Look at the number.
Which number?
100.
Oh, over there, yeah.
So the power rankings. And again, let me remind you guys what I'm bringing up on screen. This is a tool that John creates called the Power Rankings tool. And what this does is it calculates how many yards above or below average a team allows to opposing position groups. So, and then it applies it to how many yards a team generally average scores. So in this case, it is saying the Commanders should run, and this includes quarterback rushing yards, okay, but they should run for 188 yards in this game based on Carolina's terrible run defense. And if we look at Carolina here and look at their run defense, oh yeah, they allow it's again, it's a smaller number than I was expecting, but they allow 20-ish yards above average to opposing running backs. The yardage total is actually mildly less than I was expecting to see. I thought it would be like a -40 or something, but the key factor there is they're also just bleeding points to opposing running backs.
Yeah, they're giving up a lot of points because they're first of all they're giving up points, and just I mean maybe it's a bit of regression coming. They're giving up more points than anyone else to that running back position in the league.
Yeah.
So they're giving up a lot of touchdowns. It's a lot of red zone scores by running back. So and we've seen, Washington's the type of team that will move the ball kind of methodically down the field. They play the quarterback's extremely efficient, and they may not push the ball all that much and just kind of pick you apart, which means once they get in the red zone, if it's either going to be, a handoff here to Robinson or the quarterback's going to score. So yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at. And so it really plays well to the running back in this matchup in a game where we expect a lot of points. And if we get a lot of points, a lot of touchdowns, I think you're going to get 2 or 3 from rushing in this game. So yeah, it could be one of those. Got to look at the totals. I don't play a lot of anytime touchdowns, but could be one where you want to maybe take like a 2+ on Robinson or something like that and look for a big payday.
Absolutely. Now, a couple other details in this game from the DFS angles. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is a play every single week. He has been getting it done very much with Terry McLaurin, the WR1 for the Commanders. So Terry McLaurin, great. Daniels to McLaurin, fine. Zach Ertz is the tight end of note here on that team. And again, it's Brian Robinson Jr., maybe Austin Eckler as the side notes. Austin Eckler is priced as if Brian Robinson Jr. is out, which makes it difficult to play him. And Brian Robinson Jr. got the knee, which is the only concern I have. He is trending towards playing, but these are recurring injury type injuries. So you have to kind of just take it with a grain of salt. You can't go all in or too heavy with that. I don't want to put too much risk on it, but if he does play the whole game, he should have a good game. Brian Robinson Jr. was up to the point of getting 23, 24, like workhorse type touches in this offense that does run more than other offenses do. So it looks more workhorse than it is. They're probably running the ball 40 times and throwing 20 times on this team. So all the running backs, especially though Robinson Jr. when he's healthy, have a shot in a game like this. But I also want to emphasize that the Panthers offense is very interesting here. Deontay and Chuba are really solid pieces. Jatavian Sanders last week, I played him thinking I was going to get a 0 for 2,600. Wound up getting 7 targets, 5 receptions. I was like, yeah, I'll take a 10. I'll go right back to Jatavian Sanders. But of course, Deontay Johnson, a bit of a cheat code in a game like this. I would fully expect Deontay Johnson to see more than 10 targets in this game. And then Xavier Legette is the X factor. If Deontay's not getting it done, it's probably Legette, getting a bunch of targets as well. So I think both sides of this game are exciting. And I think it's obvious on the Commander side, -9.5. But I think the Panther side is an exciting offensive play. And I totally agree with you. I knew you were going there. That the bet here is the Panthers +9.5.
Definitely. It's moved up. It's moved up a bit. It was lower earlier this week.
Even better.
Yeah.
I can't wait, by the way. That's another thing that's coming to this screener. You'll be able to see the line movement charts moving in real time. That's like days away from the screener. So you can see what it's been doing the whole time. That's not quite here yet, but it is coming days away on this live on screen. Okay. Final game of the main slate. This is a big one. Super Bowl rematch. 49ers taking on the Chiefs. 49ers are 1.5-point home favorites in this one. Game total set at a understandably, let's call it conservative 47 points. DFS angles, I mean, my starting point would be Mahomes has been unplayable this year so far, has not cracked 20 fantasy points. That's rough. Travis Kelce, I think if Mahomes is smashing, Kelce would have to smash. There's no version. So when I did my analysis of this game, my final conclusion, John, was that this game, there is no version of it that happens where Mahomes puts up 25 plus and Kelsey doesn't smash. Can't happen. They go together. So
this is the worst team. I think San Francisco is one of the worst teams against the tight end position as well.
Yeah, I need to look at that. What they're good at is stop. Like they haven't allowed a lot of touchdowns to tight ends. Let me look at that.
I think they're unless I have it flipped.
Yeah, it's not. It's if we're looking at just fantasy points scored, it's nothing crazy.
Fantasy points scored. Yeah, no, they're actually giving up. They're the worst team to tight end.
Oh, from a yardage point of view?
Okay. No, just to the tight end from a fantasy point of view.
Why is it showing opponent rank 11th on the DraftKings screen?
Well, that's not taking into account the teams that they played. That's just on the whole.
With when you factor in. Okay. So your numbers when you're factoring in the talent and the averages. Okay, yeah, because it's hard to get a proper read on tight end defenses because they could have played teams that don't throw to the tight end. So it's that's a little bit deceptive. Okay, so but the greater point is Mahomes does not get it done without Kelsey right now. There's no one else on the team that's going to generate enough offensive sort of fireworks to carry Mahomes to a big score, unless Mahomes is like running for touchdowns, which he could do, but rarely does. That's like not really necessarily a big part of what he wants to do. He certainly can, and he will do it on occasion. And we've seen the 28 to 35 pointers from Mahomes throughout his career, but it's been a while. The Chiefs seem to be trying to play better defense and run the football. So I don't know. Mahomes will be super unpopular, like 2% owned on the slate. So if you want to get into a low owned quarterback play that hasn't worked in like quite some time, but could work here.
Well, what did he score? What did he score in the Super Bowl against this team?
I can't go back. I know.
28.
Yeah, he had a nice score. I know. And Kelsey, in fairness, did not have a big game. He had 98 yards, no touchdown, because I had a Kelsey touchdown bet and I was really pissed. He did have a lot of chances at a touchdown.
He was very distracted that week. He's a busy man.
He swizzed there and all that. But yeah, he put up 28 in the Super Bowl. So we know he's got it in him. He just had not done it anytime recently. And I'm skeptical of this wide receiver crew. Even Juju Smith-Schuster got a knee issue right now. We're not even sure he's going to play. And who else do they have? They've got guys. They got the rookie Xavier Worthy has not really stepped up yet, but I think he might. The rest of the guys are absolute trash cans, like Watson and whatever. They're all trash bags. So and even Juju, I kind of thought of as a trash can, but he came through last week. I think it's tough. I think the better offense to target in this game is the 49ers offense, where you just know that two of these guys are going to smash. That's just how the offense works. And the less running back power they have, the more likely it's going to be Debo and like Kittle, like an easy pair. So I'm not really sure what's going on at running back. I absolutely love the 49ers running back. If it's like, if Mason is out and if it's that Guerrero guy, I'll take that all day. Load up on it. But if it's Mason and Guerrero, and I'm saying his name wrong, hold on.
Was it like Guriendo or Guerrero?
I'm going to call that. All right, I'm going to allow what I said, Guerrero. It might be
that's what it is.
Guarendo or something. But if it's just this guy, I'm all about it. But if Mason and Guerrero are splitting, I don't like it. I don't like the Mason side. Mason's crazy overpriced at this point against an elite Kansas City rush defense. They're very, very good against the run. And so I don't want the split. But if it's just one guy, I am all about it. Look, they priced him up at 6,600. This is going to be a FanDuel play. Because I'm sure if I go check on FanDuel, the price for Guerrero is going to be like a reasonable, playable number, where DraftKings really just kicks you in the balls for trying to take a kind of a backup running back in a starting role. They do that. So that'll be a FanDuel play. But if he's healthy, if Mason's healthy, I kind of think it's going to be a split now, so I don't like it at all. I'm also not convinced that Christian McCaffrey will come back at all this season, just a heads up. I'm not saying he definitely won't. I'm saying I'm not convinced that he will. I'm skeptical. I've seen these situations play out, and it's rarely good. But, John, I think it's the 49ers here.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean that way slightly. I hate betting against Mahomes unless I have a strong feel, and I don't on this game. I would agree with you, though. My lean would be on the 49ers side of it. Um, look, I mean, Kansas City has been knocked probably justifiably. We talked about maybe the Giants should be better than their record indicates, and Kansas City probably should be worse. I mean, there's quite a few games here Kansas City should have lost. They do have the X factor, though. They've got Patrick Mahomes, and that guy's worth, a win or two by himself.
Remember back in the day, no matter what it was, if Tom Brady was a quarterback, you literally always take the Patriots if they're getting a plus. Always.
You always took him as a dog, and it's kind of similar. I've got to look at it with Mahomes. Most of these quarterbacks, the top end quarterbacks, you're going to want to take as a dog. Yeah, Brady as a dog was phenomenal. Quite frankly, the reason I say I don't like picking against and betting against these type of quarterbacks, and Mahomes is one of the few that's even left in the league here that we lost Brady and Breeze and Rodgers at his peak. When those guys, and Manning, their records against the spread, just if you just bet them each and every week, you made money through the course of their career. I'm not saying you got rich, but you didn't lose money, which is hard to do.
I bet if you went in and checked their record against being an underdog.
Yeah, no, the record was better. And Brady, I know, was phenomenal as a dog. Yeah. I actually, I don't have anything on. What do you got going on over there?
So I got phones ringing. Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff happening here.
You and me both. Yeah, no, I know I monitor some of these guys, and Rodgers is one guy. I need to look at. I could actually get you Mahomes' number here as a dog. Mahomes is a dog. Yeah, he's been good too. We should actually look at that. So Mahomes as a dog is 34-24 against the spread.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. These guys are gonna. So to expand on what you're saying, if a player is anything better than 50-50 in any scenario like that, that is like a predictive thing, right? Mahomes being, winning 70% of the time as a dog is like a money predictive thing that you should always take.
Yeah, it's just exactly. Yeah, I just don't like. Again, if I don't have any strong opinion on either side, and it's got to be a major opinion for me to go against Mahomes. So I kind of just default to the top quarterbacks, and he is the one of the few that's left in the league here that I look at in that light. So, but I do think they've been playing with fire, and this is a San Francisco team that really needs the game quite badly.
I like the 49ers to cover the 1.5. Do you have an opinion on the Chiefs running back situation? I'll expand on it. It looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be back for this game, and last week you had Kareem Hunt. 28 touches, got a target as well. 29 total touches in the game. They felt comfortable with the Kareem out there as a running back. But we kind of get the return of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Is that going to cut it? They never liked Helaire.
I don't think it's going to be a great running back game anyway. And, the Chiefs, historically, I guess it's dependent on the year. They've had it depends when you want to go back to. You want to go back to like Priest Home days or when Kareem Hunt was Kareem Hunt. But a lot of times it's either, depending on the situation that they have there, it's either you can't touch their running backs or they've got that bell cow that you want to take. And, this isn't a game where I'm willing to take that risk. I don't think the upside's there anyway. If this was like if it was a Carolina situation, where you just you absolutely have to play a running back against them, maybe. But I don't see it here in a game where I think both teams are going to be looking to throw the ball a bit in this matchup. I think I wouldn't mess around too much with Kansas City running backs.
All right, that's fair. I just I love the volume for Kareem Hunt last week. It's just
he had 30 touches. It's not like he did anything. I mean, he didn't get in the end zone. But if he gets 30 touches again, I'll take anyone at 30 touches.
I don't care. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to give me volume, and maybe they have no one to throw to, so they have to go to the running back a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, if you could guarantee me that volume, I'll take it. From anyone. But I don't know. I don't see that happening in this game.
Prediction from you: will the 49ers? Will the Chiefs trade for a wide receiver? And if so, whom?
I don't know if they do. No, I don't know if they. I don't know if they do. Look, they won they're back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They won last year, really with minimal production from wide receivers. I think this team, they feel like, listen, we've got a quarterback who obviously can uplift any of his pass catchers. We've got the tight end who still has some life left in him. If we need help, they're going to want to get help elsewhere. The defense is playing phenomenal. It's one of the better defenses in the league. So I don't know if that necessarily. I mean, look, if a great deal passed their way, I don't think they're going to make. It's not going to be some groundbreaking type of trade.
But I have a thought. I have a thought for this. If I'm Andy Reid / the GM of the Chiefs, I'm on the phone to the Titans. I mean, what, a 7th rounder?
D-Hop?
Yeah, like for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get it,
if it's not D-Hop, I'll take Calvin Ridley.
I'll take either one. If you can get something for nothing, then why not?
I think you're getting him for nothing. I think you can call up the Titans right now and get a wide receiver for nothing, or call the Jets and say, "Hey, we'll take Mike Williams off your hands for free. Will you do it?" And the Jets will be like, "Yeah, right."
100%.
So there are a couple of wide receivers that could be acquired for almost nothing on a team where, listen, Rashee Rice isn't coming back. And let me break some bad news to people. Juju Smith-Schuster is not the answer, okay? If he's, I don't want to know what the question. You know what he's the answer to? What does a knucklehead do on TikTok? The answer, Juju Smith-Schuster, right? That's the only thing he's an answer to. Like, what do knuckleheads do on TikTok? He's not the answer for replacing Rashee Rice and the possession wide receiver on that team. He's not that good. He's been around. Yes, he knows the plays, but he's just not that good. Get somebody in there to help Mahomes. It's crazy. This is a Super Bowl team. They lost Rashee Rice. And we're seeing from Xavier Worthy that he is right now he's a hybrid. He is not ready to be the guy that they rely on yet as a wide receiver. He seems more of like a hybrid burner, like a better Mecole Hardman type of guy at this second than he does like a replacement for like Tyreek Hill. So go out and get freaking old man DeAndre Hopkins, who has hands and will not drop the pass when you throw it to him. And he's going to be that old school Larry Fitzgerald late career possession guy. Probably not going to make a massive difference, but hey, it's an outlet guy that will catch the ball when Mahomes throws it to him. That's all I'm saying. Let's do quick picks, John, for the last few games here. We won't talk any DFS. We got 4 games left. Sunday night football. Jets at the Steelers. Jets -1.5. Steelers rolling out Russell Wilson in this one. They're like, hey, Fields, thanks for the wins, bitch. Now fuck off. I don't know why they're doing that, but that's what they're doing. By the way, I saw some footage of Russell Wilson looking slender in there. Did you see the footage of Russell Wilson? They're out there looking like me, slender and in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the time to buy the Jets now. This Jet team has underperformed. I think the market is down. The whole Devontae Adams thing, the only thing that annoyed me about it was, I mean, he is going to make a difference on that team, which is why I was upset from a betting standpoint. I'm like, I wanted to get some futures bets in on the Jets before that move was made. I think this is the time you buy the Jets. I talked about it the beginning of the year. It takes a lot of these veteran quarterbacks on a new team, and this is basically a new team for me. He didn't play last year, to get on the same page with his wide receivers. They have not been able to click with Wilson. Now he's getting a receiver in there that he's going to be on the same page with. He needs guys like that, quarterbacks like that need smart receivers because they're changing plays. They're basically calling the game at the line of scrimmage. He's changing things up, and you need to run routes based on what he is seeing. I don't think Garrett Wilson has that ability, and if he does, it's not going to present itself for quite some time. So now he's got a wide receiver who is smart and and understands what he's looking for. It's why he wanted Alan Lazard in there, who performed well early in the year. This just adds to my thinking that the Jets will make a push here late in the season. And I think this is a game, I think we want to start buying the Jets. They're favored on the road. It's another one where people are going to be like, what? Jets favored on the road? Pittsburgh's look really good. I think the Jets win this game.
Let me add to your emphasis here. The Jets, when you're a team like the Steelers, when you have that kind of an offense, which is very mid, that's going to falter against an elite defense like the Jets defense. I think the Steelers are going to have a hard time moving the football. I think we're going to have a hard time passing the ball. Their only chance is via the run, and I don't think Najee Harris is that guy. Sorry. So I just don't think they have what it takes on offense to be in this game. Plus, the football gods, they tried to give the Jets the win against the Bills. the odds gods did this, right? The Jets still blew. The Bills overcame the odds last week. You saw it if you watched the game. The missed field goal, the hits that were jarring the ball.
Terrible penalties.
Mike Williams wide open falls down for no reason on an Aaron Rodgers feather ball. The ball's like this coming down in the air. All you have to do is stop, turn around.
Well, he also ran the wrong right. So he ran the wrong route according to Rodgers.
No, it's not about the wrong route. It's that he didn't turn at the right time. And then when he finally turned around and the ball's up in the air, perfectly thrown, he got so excited that he fell.
Well, he never should have fell, but Rodgers basically said he's looking for him in a certain spot. When he came back, he's expecting him to run to one whatever it was, whatever he called the route, and he wasn't there. Again, these are having guys on the same page as Rodgers, because he's going to think quickly and he's going to react quickly, and you need to be thinking with him. So when he has a guy like Adams, that's going to help tremendously. And look, I've been saying it for 2 years. This kicker is going to cost the Jets big games. He's cost them 2 games so far this season. They need a kicker in the worst way. They're talking about the Jets totally differently just because of the kicker, which is why they rank so well on my rankings, because my rankings aren't taking into account that the kicker missed those kicks.
Yeah. But the football gods did want the Jets to win. They blew it. But now, much like in Game of Thrones, when Arya saved the lives of 3 prisoners, the many-faced god needed 3 deaths. Well, the football betting gods were cheated last week when they wanted the Jets to cover the spread. And therefore, the gods must be satiated, the fantasy football betting gods, with the Jets here as road favorites covering this spread. That's right. I brought it around to Game of Thrones. Valar Dohaeris. Do you know what to say to that?
I don't watch that shit.
Can you just respond?
I don't.
Margulis. You're supposed to say Valar Margulis.
I've never seen it. If it came on the TV right now, I wouldn't know what I was watching.
I can't take it, John. I literally can't take it.
I don't know where you find the time to watch.
Give me the log on for fucking Max so you can watch the series. I'll give it to you. I will give you
HBO Max. I don't even have HBO.
I will provide you.
I haven't had HBO since I had the illegal box in the back of the TV that you had to turn on and go to channel 3.
Yeah, I got one too by Kings Plaza on Flatbush Avenue. It was a dude pulled over with the trunk open. I got the descrambler box out of there, $150 back in 1994. Same guy on Flatbush Avenue with the trunk open.
Did you get the W? Did you have the just HBO or did you get WHT?
No, pay-per-view. How do you think I watched UFC 1? You think I paid for that?
Oh no, the pay-per-view. Yeah, I watched those all illegally. Yeah, those first UFCs I watched all with the illegal box.
I was like, how'd you watch those? You paid for that?
No, but you're not remembering the HBO had its specific. You're only a few years younger. You're only like 3-4
I
years
had
younger.
an HBO specific.
The HBO specific box.
Yes, I did have that. That was in the early 80s, though.
Yes.
That was from the 80s. That's already going back to the 80s. That's not even in the 90s.
That's the 80s.
By the way, it was a giant machine that looked like a freaking VCR. It was like this giant box, and it only stole HBO.
Yeah, we had it was the one I had wasn't that bad, and it was behind the TV. The TV was like a piece of furniture back in those days. And then you had to turn on channel 3 and then turn the box on, and you got HBO. It was great.
Yep, I had it too, man. HBO was the shit. And every once in a while, you got a little bit of nudity on it.
Well,
also
that's what WHT had, like the softcore stuff that you could watch like through the squiggly lines.
Yeah, there's a little of that too. But I mean, even on HBO, get like a real sex show on it. You'd be like, oh, these are gross people. But there's some tatas on the screen, which for a 16-year-old back in 1991 was about as good as you were going to get. Sorry, people. We come from the old school here. All right. Anyway, where do we go with this? I like the Jets as well. Lay the -1.5. Let's make that shmoney on that game. Can't wait for Sunday Night Football. Monday, 2-game slate. First of all, side note, come back to the DFS Army YouTube channel Monday afternoon. We'll be breaking that down. 2-gamer. Love a primetime slate. Ravens at the Bucks. Bucks 3.5-point home favorites and home underdogs. Sorry, I said that wrong. Bucks 3.5-point home underdogs against the Ravens. Okay. 49.5-point total. Exciting game. Do you like the home underdog Bucks here?
I don't love the game. I think I would lean towards Baltimore. I think this is the type of team they're going to give up a ton of points. Should be a fun game to watch. We should get some scoring in the matchup. I think Baltimore, though, I'll take them as the road fave. Lay the
Really?
3.5. I don't love it. I don't love it for a bet, but I would lean that way.
So good right now. It's tough to fade them at home getting points.
Yeah, no, they've been great.
Yeah.
They've been great. I just think Baltimore ultimately is going to be one of the team. I still think Baltimore gets to the Super Bowl.
Understandable. Last game of the NFL Week 7 slate, Chargers -2 on the road at the Cardinals. And again, I am surprised by this one, but here we are. This is our life now. The Cardinals, who were a team looking on the upswing earlier this season, now a home underdog against a mediocre LA Chargers team. Cardinals getting 2, John.
Yeah, I'm going to take the road favorite again. I don't love the game, but man, I love the coach, and this guy, he wins. So, against a team that's really struggling, give me the coach who somehow finds a way to win. He's going to do it running the ball and playing defense, which is what that Chargers team does. I think they get the job done. I will take the Chargers -2.
J.K. Dobbins lock button on the 2 gamer, like you just lock it. You hit the lock button on the Dom station, say, all right, I'm going with it, live or die.
I would think so.
Yeah, gotta lock button that shit. All right, that's going to do it for the game plan. NFL Week 7 best bets and DFS action. Of course, you got a little run through of the new tools that are coming out, the beta version of Sharp 2.0. We didn't really show the Proptimizer tools or any of that stuff, but I mean, it's awesome. You like Prize Picks, Underdog, whatever you're into, it will focus on that site and give you top down and bottom up approaches. You'll get the odds to hit for every leg. A lot of great stuff coming as well. So let's see here. Will Levis, rushing yards, 8.5. There you go. Over 8.5. Oh, and it's changing on screen. Look at that. One of the cool things about this, again, you could just watch these odds numbers change on screen. And for people, we added a really cool feature here where you could actually just pause it. So it's not constantly changing because these are live and real-time odds. So make sure to check that out. Again, Sharp.app, promo code DFSA25 is a 25% discount that will lock in for life on Sharp app. You want to do this now. The beta goes live on Friday afternoon. We have a few weeks. Once these tools are in live mode, these prices are going to go up, and you will not be able to ever get them again. So part of why we're rewarding customers and members for signing up with us, we're building this together for each other, built by sports bettors for sports bettors. We need your subscriptions in there to cover the cost of upgrading and creating all of these amazing tools. So we consider it a community where we're building tools for the Sharp app community. Get in there now, lock in, and you will be locked in for life at incredibly solid rates. So DFSA 25, 25% off. That's going to get you in the Pro Plus, the real-time odds, and all-inclusive plan for just $75 a month. So make sure to check it out. For John, final thoughts?
I think we've said it all. I mean, yeah, it should be a good week. And check out, like you said, let's check out the Sharp app. I'll give you one thought. As much as we want you guys to subscribe and download the app and check it out, what would really help us out is social media. Just kind of take some screenshot when you use the app and you find some bets that you like. Shoot it out there on social media. Let the world know that you're using our tool to kind of find those good bets, especially when you win. How you did it. That would help us out tremendously, and we'd greatly appreciate it. So if you like the content that we bring you guys and you want to help us out, that would really be the best way to do it.
There we go. I love it. All right. Good stuff. We will see you guys back here NFL Week 8 for another breakdown show. Let's cash those tickets, everyone.